This happened 2 years ago during Halloween of 2023. I am a 25-year-old male, but at the time of this story, I was 22. We had a long day of work because of a festival. We had a situation where parents would bring their children to the center for a variety of activities, competitive games, a costume contest, trivia for candy, and a kids verse parents dodgeball game. Overall, it was a very enjoyable experience, but it was definitely tiring. For context, I am a community as a worker, attending community events, pretty much what I do on a regular basis. However, it is also draining. Anyway, once everything was done, I went home and was ready to call it quits. Night, approximately an hour after I arrived home. It was around 6 something, and my sister called me. My sister, who I shall Savannah, called and asked me to take her. I'll call my nephew Jackson trick or treating, because neither Jackson's parents felt that doing it, and as usual, fell on me to be the cool big brother to step in to make it happen. Jackson was 11 years old, while I was 15, although I was not feeling it at all, so I got up. I threw on some clothes and went to. They will be picked up from their parents' house When I got there, I asked if they were ready. However, Savannah was still finalizing her costume. She was dressed up like Raven from Teen Titans. She even had the white put on makeup to give that ghostly. Raven typically has a certain appearance. I was dressed as Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. After Savannah was finished, we got in the car and headed out. They went to a busy neighborhood to ensure they received as much candy possible. Upon arrival, we began going from house to house. We ran. I was friendly and had plenty of handout treats. There was even one house where an elderly man gave them each a hot dog and a soda. He said every year, for Halloween, he does not give out candy. Instead, he grills the food. He'd rather give kids something too. Protein is beneficial to the human body. Honestly, we probably need more people like that. We passed many other kids. Some complimented Savannah and Jackson's costumes. I also saw some. My costumes are really cool. Everyone inside the area appeared to go all out. When we hit the last house of the night, began walking back towards the car. It had been about a 10-minute walk since we left, quite far down the street. The neighborhood was less active now. There were fewer people out about. That's why I became concerned when I looked across the street and noticed a person dressed entirely in black stands a yard with no porch lights on. I'm surprised I noticed them at all, but I tend to constantly pay attention to my surroundings. When I looked closer, it appeared that the person was wearing a hooded cloak with an all-black outfit and a mask. Because I couldn't see their face at all, I actually couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman. Whoever it appeared that they were looking at us. I told Savannah and Jackson to stay. He approached me and said, there is a suspicious person across the garden, but don't stare. I told them could see who I'm talking about without encouraging the individual to approach or follow us. Jackson laughed. I thought it was just someone trying to scare passersby. Savannah, however, she appeared to be very concerned. Now, just to provide some context, I was carrying a backpack containing a Glock, and Savannah understood this, so as I told them to stay close, she most likely realized I was being serious. Jackson was clueless. He is too young for me to tell him carry a real gun. While we walked away, it appeared that person was still watching us, even though it's hard to tell in the dark. We were getting closer to the car as I suddenly heard heavy footsteps behind us, like boots on concrete. I turned around and saw the same person. Again, same outfit, all black, but this I was able to see more clearly. They were wearing a tactical vest and tactical boots. Black trousers were tucked into the boots. They were a full spandex mask. They completely covered their faces. That made it. The situation is much more serious when the first time I see someone dressed like that. One thought that comes to mind is that they're armed. I thought he was following us. I whispered to Savannah and Jackson. I need both of you to pay close attention. Keep walking and don't look back. The individual I mentioned earlier continue to follow us. They are behind us, right? Now, we don't want to alarm anyone or set them off, so just maintain your composure and continue walking. I looked at Jackson when I said this, because he is young and may not fully understand how serious this was. Savannah understood completely. We kept walking and made occasional glances. Behind us, the person remained the same. Despite the distance, I continued to follow. When we reached the car, they were still coming our way. That's when I decided to make a bold move. I pulled out my Glock and pointed it at the individual. I asked, "Why are they following us? A person." They raised their hands as though they didn't expect me to do that slowly. They removed their mask. It was a woman. She looked to be in her 30s. She removed her mask but did not respond to my question. She simply stared at me blankly. I asked again, pointing the gun. "Why are you following us?" What she said. The following made no sense in an almost robotic. She said, "I'm an undercover cop. I was told there was a break-in, and I came to check it out, which was why I was standing outside the house. But when you looked at me strangely, and I assumed if you were the one who did it, then it's wise to lower that weapon, or I could. Have you been arrested for threatening someone? Officer of the law." I hesitated, but then I lowered my gun. What else was I? What am I supposed to do? I did not want to risk arrest or ruin the children's night. But the story did not make any sense. She claimed she received word of a break-in, so why would she just stood outside, facing away from? What about the house? How did I look at her? Funny. Make her think I was the one who. Did you do it? Why would I break into the house, then walk casually through the neighborhood? And why did she wear a hooded cloak? All these questions were rushing through my mind. So I asked her, "If you're undercover, why are you in tactical? Wouldn't that be a giveaway that you are law enforcement? And what was the point of the cloak?" She didn't. She just stared at me again. This time, her expression changed. There was something malicious in her eyes, like she was irritated because I didn't. I believed her and was considering what to do. Next, Jackson and Savannah stayed. Throughout it all, I remained completely quiet. Then she gave this creepy, unsettling smile. I smiled and said, "If you didn't have that gun, this night would have ended in hell. Very different for you." She finished saying that, and I noticed 4 figures suddenly appear from between them. All of the houses were moving towards us. They were wearing tactical gear, but without. I immediately told Savannah about the cloak, Jackson to get in the car and keep my focus on the woman and the figures. When I saw they were inside, I got in and drove. I was leaving, and the woman was still standing there, smiling. Others 3 men and 1 woman were. They were not smiling. They had blank, emotionless faces. Faces as if they had no souls. It's difficult to explain the entire car ride. Back was silent. I'm sure the kids were in shock. I dropped them off, made sure they got in safely. Then I went home to process everything happened. I couldn't shake it off. This was why they targeted us. The neighborhood was filled with people walking. So why us? I wish I could say it. It didn't end there. After a few days later, I received a text from an unknown. It was just a photograph with no words. The photograph was of my car taken in the parking lot of my apartment complex. Contacted the police and informed them everything happened on Halloween. They took the report at night, but I could investigate without a direct. A threat was made, which is typical. Out of curious and possibly stupid, I returned to the house where I saw that woman and knocked on the door. I asked, and a man in his 40s responded if they'd experienced a break-in on Halloween night. He appeared confused and said no. He said he went to bed early because he had work the next morning. I didn't notice anything unusual. I told he had no idea what I saw. I expressed gratitude for his. I had already left by that time. I knew the undercover cop story was false. However, I wanted to do my own little. An investigation is required to make sense of it. Whoever that woman and those people were, someone knew my phone number and where I'm wondering if that was it really a random encounter? Have they been watching me for a while, planning something that night, and my being armed threw them off? All of those thoughts upset me and made me feel I had been paranoid for a long time and had to go to therapy and set up a Ring camera at my front door just to feel safe again. In case you are wondering, I haven't been. Since then, I have been contacted by unknown phone numbers. Nothing else has occurred since then. 2 years later, I'm still thinking back on that night. Writing this out is very helpful to me, and I'm trying to fully move on from it. However, if there is something I want people to take away, this is to always watch your surroundings. You never know who be watching you. It's easy to get caught up in something dangerous just for Stay safe at all times. Protected because I can say fully, confidence in being armed at night. Probably saved our lives.